Hello, my name is Pamela Claure and I welcome you to the session today. In 1 minute, we will start. Hola, mi nombre es Pamela Claure. En 1 minuto vamos a comenzar. Por favor, las instrucciones para la traducción en español se encuentran dentro de los archivos incluidos en esta sesión. Muchas gracias. Welcome you to our session of Sanitation and Watershed Management Cooperation for Improved Governance and Investments. My name is Pamela Claure, and I will guide you throughout this session today. I hope you will really be happy to join us and follow within the session. To start, I will invite Guido Merubia to welcome us to our session.
Thank you very much, Pamela. Hello, everybody. My name is Guido Merubia. I'm working here at the Embassy of Sweden in La Paz as program officer. Well, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm so honored to be part of this important session to discuss this key topic as it is the cooperation, integration between watershed management and sanitation. Maybe many of you are not aware, but Sweden, through SIDA in Bolivia, has been working for more than 30 years, specifically in the water and sanitation sector for more than 20 years, promoting alternative sanitation models. Its cooperation has also supported watershed management for the last 15 years through a basket fund with other bilateral donors for the development and implementation of the National Watershed Plan and specific watershed plans in different regions in the country. However, and really surprising, although we were working in both areas with SIDA's fund, the connection between them was practically non-existent. So the Water Thinking Connected to Hydrology program, the WATCH program, has been the first attempt in the country to work under a comprehensive approach to integrate watershed management and sanitation. The aim was to be not only more efficient, but also more environmentally friendly through a circular economy approach. When we began the design of WATCH back in 2017, 2018, we were astonished about the scarce experience in this area worldwide. I also remember that when we were discussing with the Ministry of Water and Environment about the importance of integrating these two topics, we realized how many strategic planning processes in both the watershed but also in the water and sanitation sector were made without any kind of connection. As an example, at that time, many of the water and sanitation metropolitan plans were done without knowing the water availability in the watersheds, which of course can be quite dangerous. I think that the turning point for this integration was the drought that the city of La Paz experienced in 2016-2017, which affected almost 1 million inhabitants. So nevertheless, the task was not easy. Although the project document established a clear intention to enhance these links, many questions arose, especially with this few experience worldwide. Where to begin in the planning process? Which kind of methodologies we should apply? Which are the most important tools that should be used? How to work locally? In what ways can we create awareness in the population, but also in the authorities? This integration could really enhance water governance in the futures, could improve investments and financial leverage. We really hope that through this session, we will be able to answer many of these questions. Although we also know that there are still many challenges to remain to be faced. Being totally honest, and from my own experience as a manager of the WATCH program here at the Embassy, it has been a learning by doing process. I'm sure there are still many things that should be improved or developed. We really hope that through this session and through the group discussions, We will have a very proactive discussions that will help us, all of us, to get new innovative ideas to continue further and deeper in this integration. Saying this, I would like to welcome to the Sanitation and Watershed Management Corporation for improved governance and investment sessions. I hope it will be as inspiring for you as this experience has been for me. Welcome, all of you.
Thank you, Guido, for such a nice introduction. And right now, we will focus on showing our experience regarding the Bolivia Watch program. So I invite you to listen to this presentation.
Welcome to this session. My name is Melina Valderrama, and I will guide these contents called Integrated Approach of Water and Sanitation Management, the Experience of Bolivia Watch Program. This program is developed by the Stockholm Environment Institute. Let me introduce myself. Currently, I'm the in-country coordinator of Bolivia Watch Program. I'm an industrial engineer with a master's degree in business and industrial management and direction. I did my PhD in chemistry and chemical engineering program at Ramon Llull University in Barcelona, Spain. My previous work experience covered academic chairs, management and direction in international cooperation programs and external consultancy services. My interests and performance during the last 20 years are around the topics of water, energy, climate change, sustainability, smart cities and communities, funding, and education. Let us start with the context. According to the Global Water Partnership in 2021, almost a third of renewable water resources are in South America. Brazil, Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia are among the 10 richest countries in water, but paradoxically face drought, increased water stress, deforestation, pollution, floods, as well as a high vulnerability to climate change due to inadequate multi-level and multi-sectorial water management. At the center of South America, Bolivia is part of the 3 transboundary water macro-basins. That means additional challenges in water management. The Bolivian political constitution established 2 approaches for water understanding. The first one, human right to water, and the second one, water resources to produce. If 13% of inhabitants of Bolivia do not have drinking water coverage, and that 37% lack access to sanitation services, on the other hand, Bolivia has economic development challenges, the recurring question is how to manage water in the most efficient, fair, equitable, resilient, sustainable, and productive way. The answer is not easy, but must begin to defining and implementing policies that manage to integrate sector, demands, and actors. For this purpose, the sectoral policy divides the water resources into 51 hydrographic units as is shown in these slides. Integrated water resources management is a process that promotes the coordinated development and management of water, land, and related resources in order to maximize economic and social welfare in an equitable manner without compromising the sustainability of vital ecosystems. integrated water resources management is a cross-sectoral policy approach designed to replace the traditional fragmented sectoral approach to water resources and management that has led to poor services and unsustainable resource use. Integrated water resources management is based on the understanding that water resources are an integral component of ecosystems, a natural resource, and a social and economic good. Bolivia Watch program was commissioned to formulate 3 master plans for basins located in the west of the country: La Paz Basin, Pampawari and Tupiza basins in Potosí. In addition, after the fires of unprecedented magnitude in 2019, the Ministry of Water and Environment asked to SEI to develop a study that analyzes the impacts of fires on water resources in Chiquitania, at the east of the country. The comprehensive approach is essential for the sustainability and resilience of communities, especially rural ones, which are also the poorest. Comprehensiveness facilitates equitable access to water, considering the impact of pollution in relation to human activities. Bolivia Watch program supports the efforts of the Ministry of Environment and Water and its vice-ministries of Wash and Basins with the formulation of Basin Master Plans to improve governance and promote institutional changes at the local, regional, and national levels. To formulate the Basin Master Plan, Bolivia Watch program has developed a set of tools that integrate challenges of drinking water and sanitation with the tools wash flows and revamp the protection and recovery of water resources with the tools WIP and WAT, and the water governance with the tool MTDP that allows the decision makers to choose options and simulate their results. With these tools that integrate sectors and policies from different levels of government, the investments will be more efficient, resilient, comprehensive, equitable, and sustainable. Using this toolbox, we can plan the transformation of these current basins with its problems into more ideal basins. The program philosophy defines 3 pillars that support decision-making. The first pillar describes the current conditions of the basins, studying the existing information and generating the missing one. This pillar allows understanding the dynamics of the basin, the problems, and its actors. The second pillar proposes the alternatives for the solutions of the problems identified in the previous pillar, and it evaluates each corrective action by simulating scenarios that consider climate change. The third pillar proposes alternative solutions for water and sanitation problems. These 3 pillars generate enough information for the decision-making authorities to assess the advisability of investment and improvement actions with the indicated periods. And the planning philosophy, let's learn more about the toolbox, essential to achieve the integration of sectors, wash and watershed in the planning process.
Bolivia Watch, un programa del CEI, presenta Modelo de Toma de Decisiones Participativa MTDP, herramientas para apoyar la toma de decisiones sobre la gestión de recursos hídricos. Los efectos del cambio climático, el crecimiento económico y la urbanización continúan incrementando la demanda y reduciendo la disponibilidad de los recursos hídricos en zonas bajo estrés hídrico. Es así como para alcanzar una gestión integral del recurso hídrico se requiere tanto una transversalidad horizontal a nivel de escalas administrativas y una transversalidad vertical que implica la coordinación intergubernamental e implica la coordinación de competencias, ya no solo de funciones. Poder articular toda esta información resulta hoy en día un desafío para muchos tomadores de decisiones en Latinoamérica, y el modelo de toma de decisiones participativo responde a dicha necesidad. El MTDP facilita el diálogo y la participación de las partes interesadas, principalmente en la evaluación de acciones de intervención, así como en la construcción de estrategias de gestión conjunto o paquete de acciones coherentes entre los diferentes intereses, regiones y horizontes de planificación. El MTDP está constituido por 3 componentes principales: diferentes herramientas analíticas, una interfaz de visualización de indicadores y un panel de decisión. Las herramientas analíticas se agrupan en torno a la herramienta Sistema de Evaluación y Planificación del Agua, o VEAP, por sus siglas en inglés, y son: 1. Herramienta para el mapeo del valor de los recursos en los residuos domésticos, REVAMP, Resource Value Mapping en inglés. 2. Herramienta de topología de cuencas hidrográficas, WAT, Watershed Topologic Tool en inglés. 3. Y la herramienta de modelación de la calidad de los servicios y flujos domésticos de agua y saneamiento, WashFlow, Water Sanitation and Hygiene, and Flow en inglés. La interfaz de panel de decisiones y visualización de indicadores permite mostrar las diferentes acciones de intervención o decisiones donde cada actor podría seleccionar la acción de su interés y evaluar su desempeño de acuerdo con cada indicador. Las resoluciones espaciales tradicionales al momento de plantear acción de cuenca solo consideran a nivel de comunidad el consumo de agua. En cambio, las herramientas integradas REVAMP y WashFlows van más allá y estudian el saneamiento. A nivel de hogares, cuando la información a niveles de hogares se agrupa, se puede tener una perspectiva del estado de dichos servicios en las comunidades y evaluar su impacto a nivel de cuenca. Esto hace del MTDP una herramienta innovadora. El MTDP facilita la integración de datos e información con el proceso de toma de decisiones. El uso de diferentes herramientas de modelación y la participación de las partes interesadas, técnicas y no técnicas, mediante una interfaz visual sencilla, genera un proceso de negociación para la planificación de cuencas. Cabe destacar que esta herramienta podría ser usada en la planificación de otros recursos naturales.
I hope you enjoy.
Thank you very much for your attention. My colleagues will.
I hope you enjoy the presentation. And now I will invite you to see the result of our project with the development of the basin management plans. Specifically, I'm going to show you the Pampawari Basin Management Plan.
La cuenca del río Pampawari, ubicada en el departamento de Potosí de Bolivia, es una cuenca de cabecera del río transfronterizo Pilcomayo. El limitado acceso al agua, la contaminación de varios afluentes, la degradación de tierras y el incumplimiento de políticas agroambientales son, entre otros, los principales problemas de esta cuenca. La inseguridad hídrica acecha esta zona como consecuencia del aumento de la demanda del agua y la disminución de la oferta hídrica en ríos y lagunas a causa del cambio climático. ¿Cómo hacemos frente a este inminente escenario de carencia de agua?
Pamela,
Articulando en la planificación del recurso
Pamela, no se ve el video.
Siguientes instrumentos como el PDC, Estrategia de Intervención entre la
Pamela, I'm sorry, we're not seeing the video. We're just seeing a screen that has the little icon of the video, but not the video.
Okay, I will start sharing again. I appreciate for your patience.
Cuenca del río Pampawari, ubicada en el departamento de Potosí de Bolivia, es una cuenca de cabecera del río transfronterizo Pilcomayo. El limitado acceso al agua, la contaminación de varios afluentes, la degradación de tierras y el incumplimiento de políticas agroambientales son, entre otros, los principales problemas de esta cuenca. La inseguridad hídrica acecha esta zona como consecuencia del aumento de la demanda del agua y la disminución de la oferta hídrica en ríos y lagunas a causa del cambio climático. ¿Cómo hacemos frente a este inminente escenario de carencia de agua? Articulando en la planificación del recurso hídrico y sus correspondientes instrumentos como el PDC, Estrategia de Intervención entre la Gestión Integrada del Recurso Hídrico, y el sector de WASH, Agua, Saneamiento e Higiene. La formulación del PDC Pampawari se basa en la conformación de la plataforma interinstitucional como instancia de participación para mejorar la incidencia de los actores en las decisiones hídricas y el marco ADR. La aplicación del marco ADR permitió generar espacios de discusión, trabajo colectivo e intercambio de ideas, donde tanto el equipo de CI como consultores externos y las personas con intereses en la cuenca tuvieron la oportunidad de abordar no solo los principales problemas que enfrenta la cuenca, sino potenciales estrategias para fortalecer la gestión de los recursos hídricos. Uno de los principales logros del PDC Pampawari fue la conformación de la plataforma interinstitucional. Esta tiene por objetivo fortalecer la gobernanza del agua en la cuenca Pampawari.
Escuchamos a la gente, las demandas, las ideas, las propuestas que tienen.
El rol de la plataforma ha sido muy importante, ¿no? Nos ha permitido tener ese espacio para discutir las distintas problemáticas y al final consolidar las distintas acciones que ha definido el plan director de la cuenca. Yo creo que el Consejo Técnico y la Unidad de Gestión de Cuenca de la plataforma interinstitucional asegurarían la sostenibilidad, puesto que van a dar respuesta, ¿no?, a muchos de los problemas utilizando las distintas herramientas informáticas, por ejemplo, o todo el diagnóstico que se ha generado.
La conformación de la plataforma interinstitucional inició en el año 2021, donde la mayoría de las instancias están conformadas por instituciones a diferentes escalas: municipal, departamental y nacional. El siguiente paso en el que estamos es la conformación del Consejo Social, donde participarían asociaciones u organizaciones locales de los diferentes usos del agua. Para la evaluación de las diferentes estrategias de intervención, se empleó el modelo de toma de decisiones participativas, MTDP, que permitió desarrollar diferentes escenarios donde los miembros del Consejo Técnico de la Plataforma Interinstitucional pudieron interactuar con los diferentes resultados que les ofrecían los modelos predictivos del CEI. Esta herramienta generó un espacio de debate entre las partes, quienes a través de indicadores tales como cobertura del agua o riego óptimo pudieron entender el impacto de sus propias acciones y cómo podrían influir en otros usuarios del agua y en la cuenca. Este enfoque resulta innovador porque incorpora acciones en agua potable y saneamiento que permite a. Beneficiar comunidades dispersas y mejorar sus niveles de servicios de agua, saneamiento e higiene, incorporando un análisis a nivel de hogar y de cuenca. B. Medir el impacto en varios usuarios del agua al llevar a cabo las acciones del Plan Maestro de Agua y Saneamiento de la ciudad de Potosí.
Experiencia de gestión como empresa de servicios de agua potable en la utilización de estas herramientas que para nosotros son novedosos y al mismo tiempo son de toma de decisión para la mejor elección, la mejor alternativa, ha sido muy importante, por lo cual quedamos muy agradecidos a Bolivia Watch.
Gestión y planificación frente a los retos identificados. 5 ejes estratégicos fueron priorizados para resolver los problemas a corto, mediano y largo plazo, que son: protección, conservación y restauración de los ecosistemas estratégicos para recuperar sus funciones ambientales, agua sostenible en calidad y cantidad para consumo humano y saneamiento básico, Gestión del agua para la producción agropecuaria bajo riego. Gestión de las actividades mineras para minimizar sus impactos en los recursos hídricos. Gestión de acuerdos interinstitucionales para la gestión técnica y financiera de desarrollo de capacidades, tomando como eje transversal el cambio climático, género, equidad y fortalecimiento institucional. Actualmente se están estudiando las capacidades de endeudamiento de las instituciones locales y se están buscando fondos de financiamiento para ejecutar las acciones del plan, o se está desarrollando la estrategia de financiamiento del plan, que involucra, por un lado, conocer la capacidad de endeudamiento de instituciones públicas y, por otro lado, buscar fondos de financiamiento para asegurar la ejecución de las acciones. Adicionalmente, se ha hecho un esfuerzo para que los ejes estratégicos y sus acciones se articulen con otros instrumentos de desarrollo a nivel Bolivia, como lo son el Plan de Desarrollo Económico y Social de Bolivia y los Planes Territoriales de Desarrollo Integral, que operan a nivel municipal. Estos resultados y nuestro enfoque de integrar la planificación de cuencas, el manejo integral de cuencas y las intervenciones en agua, saneamiento e higiene podrían ser el camino a seguir para implementar la nueva Política Nacional del Agua, Plan Plurinacional del Recurso Hídrico en Bolivia. Gracias, Pampawari, por tu compromiso con la gestión del agua.
I hope you enjoy our presentation of the Pampawari Basin Management Plan. And following with the session, we will focus on the stakeholders' perspective regarding this integration. And as you have seen from previous video, one of the main characteristics of our methodological framework was that it was highly participative. Bolivia Watch program has been implemented during the last 3 years, and we have been working together with a wide range of institutions. However, for this presentation, I will focus mainly on the governmental institutions. At national level, we find the Ministry of Environment and Water, that it's located in La Paz, the capital city of Bolivia. The Ministry of Environment of Water has 2 different vice ministers. The first one, the Vice Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation, that mainly focuses on the implementation of WASH actions, and the Vice Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, that focuses on the water management at national level specifically. The Vice Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation has different tasks, specifically follows the ones stated in the country's Economic and Social Development Plan 2021 to 2025, focusing on the increase of water and sanitation coverage, environmental management through the implementation of water treatment plants, and waste management. However, to achieve this goal, the Vice Ministry faces some challenges. So let's listen to the Director of Drinking Water and Sanitation talk about them.
Estos desafíos que tenemos en función a la planificación que tenemos para este quinquenio, para el 2025 y para el 2030, pues son incrementar las coberturas de dotación de agua potable y alcantarillado, ¿no? Hasta la gestión 2021 tenemos una cobertura en el área urbana del 94.8%, rural del 68.9%, y en saneamiento tenemos una cobertura en urbano del 70.9%, rural 45.1%. Estos datos pues nos muestran que tenemos que avanzar bastante, ¿no? Bastante, principalmente en lo que es en las inversiones, incremento de coberturas en el área rural. Si bien en el área urbana tenemos datos aceptables, creemos nosotros que para el 2030, con el objetivo de cumplir los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible al 2030, en lo que se refiere en coberturas en área urbana, estaríamos con buenas perspectivas de llegar a este objetivo, de llegar a una cobertura acercándonos al 100% en área urbana. En área rural, tanto en agua y en saneamiento, nos falta aún, ¿no? Principalmente en saneamiento. Y a ello va enfocado nuestra planificación, el desafío grande que tenemos, ¿no? con la creación, la ejecución de programas, proyectos que van enfocados a inversiones principalmente en el área rural, ¿no? Esto nos va a permitir acortar esas brechas que se tienen entre urbano y rural. Estos desafíos que tenemos.
The main takeout point from the video show is the level of drinking water and sanitation coverage, which challenges us to propose innovative solutions. In that sense, we asked the director if the integration between sanitation and watershed management could help overcoming these challenges identified. So let's listen to his response.
Sí, creemos que sí. Coadyuva, apoya bastante en el cumplimiento de nuestros objetivos, principalmente dándolo este enfoque integral al recurso hídrico, ¿no? Una de nuestras tareas fundamentales. Sí, creemos que sí. Coadyuva, apoya bastante en el cumplimiento de nuestros objetivos, principalmente dándolo este enfoque integral al recurso hídrico, ¿no? Una de nuestras tareas fundamentales para nosotros, para el sector, es pues el cómo garantizamos la seguridad hídrica. Y para ello pues se requieren muchas acciones, ¿no? Y coordinando con todos los diferentes sectores, ¿no? Que hacen uso de este líquido elemento, pero siempre dando prioridad a lo que se refiere agua para consumo humano, ¿no? Sabemos que al tener este servicio básico que es el agua potable, pues también se generan las aguas residuales. Y qué mejor que estas aguas residuales, pues con un buen tratamiento se las dé el fin del reuso. Y así pues hacemos uso eficiente de este recurso hídrico. Entonces por ello es muy importante la coordinación con todos los sectores para que nosotros cumplamos ese fin que es de dar una seguridad hídrica a todos los habitantes.
The importance of an integration between all sectors to guarantee water security, identified by the Vice Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation, shows the importance of continue working for the integration of water, sanitation, and hygiene actions and watershed management. Now, continue with our presentation, and as I mentioned previously, the Vice Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation focus on water management at national level, following the guidelines stated in the Plurinational Plan of Water Resources 2021 to 2025. And now we will listen to the Vice Minister, who will explain us the main takeaway of this planning instrument and the importance of considering the integration of WASH and integrated water resource management within this planning strategy.
Dado el contexto de cómo se está comportando lo que es los efectos del cambio climático, es necesario interactuar en otros modelos de planificación bajo los aprendizajes que se tenían a través de las intervenciones anteriores. Dentro de lo que ha sido el ministerio y dentro de lo que ha sido el equipo del viceministerio, se trabajó de manera sólida en función a todas esas experiencias. Se realizó un análisis tanto de las cosas buenas como de las cosas malas. Tenemos que ser claros en eso, ¿no? No todo es bueno, ¿no? Siempre a través de un proceso de planificación se tienen las experiencias buenas, pero también se tienen algunas deficiencias cometidas, ¿no? Por tal razón, este Plan Plurinacional de Recursos Hídricos está enfocado bajo un esquema del aprendizaje, o sea, un modelo de planificación que va a ir evolucionando en función también a las necesidades y a las características de la demanda. ¿Cómo estamos interviniendo con ese proceso de planificación? Es un proceso de planificación retroalimentativo. ¿Por qué? Porque estamos hablando de que vamos a ir de abajo hacia arriba, pero también de arriba hacia abajo. De abajo hacia arriba, ¿en qué sentido? En escalas de planificación. Nosotros estamos definiendo lo que son las zonas de intervención con unidades hidrográficas, partiendo desde una unidad hidrográfica operativa, que es la que captura todas las necesidades en campo y en el sitio de intervención con una relación directa con los beneficiarios, subiendo a una unidad hidrográfica de gestión, que es la que entrelaza la demanda captada en la unidad hidrográfica operativa y la puede canalizar ya en una gestión de financiamiento. Es necesario resaltar que para resolver algunos problemas es necesario inyectar recursos por parte del Estado central y de los gobiernos subnacionales. Entonces, por tal razón, ya la unidad hidrográfica de gestión es donde se encuentra tanto la demanda con lo que es la institución para resolver esa demanda. Pero en ese punto medio de la unidad hidrográfica de gestión tenemos un nivel más, que es la unidad hidrográfica de información. Esta unidad hidrográfica de información está enfocada a generar la mayor cantidad de datos que pueda coadyuvar a resolver la problemática que viene desde abajo. Como les decía, entonces partimos de abajo hacia arriba, pero también de arriba hacia abajo. ¿Por qué? Porque a través de esta unidad hidrográfica informativa podemos dar los lineamientos para la resolución de los problemas o las alertas tempranas para la priorización de proyectos. Es evidente que cuando uno va a ver las necesidades son grandes, son amplias, y más que todo ahora bajo este esquema de multisectorialidad. ¿Por qué? Porque en el Plan Nacional de Cuencas estaba haciendo un análisis del Plan Nacional de Cuencas, un enfoque de cuenca que no estaba viendo la multisectorialidad. A veces solo estábamos hablando de medidas estructurales y medidas no estructurales, ¿para qué? Para la conservación de la cuenca, pero no estamos hablando de las demandas que se generan. Entonces, bajo ese contexto es que la información que pueda proporcionar este nivel más superior de unidad hidrográfica nos va a ayudar a que podamos decidir cuáles son las necesidades urgentes. Entonces, nosotros definiendo las necesidades urgentes vamos a poder establecer niveles de planificación para la intervención y poder, como les explicaba, bajo un esquema multisectorial, poder atender estas demandas. Dado el contexto de cómo
As mentioned by the Vice Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, within the Plurinational Plan of Water Resources 2021 to 2025, the establishment of planned units at different scales, including a multi-sectoral scheme, will allow to satisfy the different water demands. Now, let's focus on departmental level and travel to the Department of Potosí, where we will meet the autonomous departmental government of Potosí, who actively participated during the development of Pampawari Basin Plan and will share their perspective on what was the greatest contribution of integrated water, sanitation, and hygiene actions during the development of the Basin Plan.
El mayor aporte han sido varios en realidad, entre ellos, por ejemplo, el poder integrar al plan maestro en sus acciones, por ejemplo, poder recomendar y poder hacerlo a una escala más grande, ¿no? Otras de las acciones, poder, gracias a las líneas estratégicas y acciones ya identificadas, ha sido mucho más simple poder proponer las acciones dentro de los PTDIs. Y entre los que más resaltaría, por ejemplo, está el de tomar conciencia de nuestras debilidades, de que mientras desarrollábamos el diagnóstico, se consolidaba, hemos podido ver de que necesitamos un uso eficiente y racional del agua. La verdad es que dentro de la Pampawari tenemos ciudad de Potosí vivimos en un racionamiento interno. Distritos que no les llega de igual forma el agua, así que ha sido esa toma de conciencia también de que no tenemos una planta de tratamiento y de que hemos podido tomar conciencia de que podemos reusar, pero principalmente también nos ha puesto a pensar de que necesitamos pensar en cómo garantizar la operación y el mantenimiento de esta infraestructura que viene, ¿no? Seguramente van a implicar también reglamentos, normativas para las actividades mineras, pero toda esta toma de conciencia es entre lo que más podría recuperar. El mayor aporte de...
It is important to highlight that the autonomous departmental government of Potosí considers that integrating the sanitation master plan into Pampawari Basin management plan was important, as it allowed them to think at watershed scale and incorporate water reuse as an example. Now, let's move on and travel to the municipal level, and specifically to the municipality of Potosí, where we will meet the autonomous municipality of Potosí, who actively participated during the development of Pampawari Basin Plan, and will share their perspective regarding the importance of integrating sanitation into the Pampawari Basin Management Plan.
Ha sido un aspecto fundamental el hecho de tener un enfoque integral y con visión, en el entendido de que anteriormente, si bien se hablaba de recursos hídricos, se hablaba de manejo de recursos hídricos, no se consideraba además la consecuencia, en este caso el saneamiento básicamente. Entonces consideramos que un punto fundamental ha sido el hecho de poder aditamentar el tema de saneamiento en cuanto al manejo hídrico que se está estableciendo. Y este saneamiento de igual manera da lugar a un esquema del cuidado de salud pública básicamente.
The municipality of Potosí also states the importance to think of a wider integrated scale, particularly focusing on sanitation. As he stated, it will also lead to public health. I hope that with this virtual trip to Bolivia, you were able to get a sense of how stakeholders consider the integration of sanitation and watershed management during the development of the Pampawari Basin Management Plan. All these lessons gathered from stakeholders who actively participated in the development of the basin plans within the Bolivia Watch program and from the technical team working in Bolivia Watch was collected and integrated. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Pamela, for guiding us through all of the presentations. I'm Claudia Coleoni, also from SCI, working with the Bolivia Watch program. And now we're also happy to introduce you to another presentation focused on the strengths, weaknesses, and key challenges for the integration of sanitation and watershed management. And this will be a presentation on the lessons learned from the Bolivia Watch project. And this presentation will be made by our colleague, Adriana. So please, if you could share the video of the presentation.
Good day, everyone. My name is Adriana Soto, and I'm a research associate at the headquarters office of the Stockholm Environment Institute. Today, I'll be presenting you some of the lessons learned about integrating sanitation and watershed management in the Bolivia Watch project. I'll start introducing you to some of the potential benefits of this integration, and then moving to showing strengths, weaknesses, and challenges identified during the project. There are very close links between water sanitation and hygiene, commonly known as WASH, and integrated water resources management. Nevertheless, WASH planning and interventions rarely consider that water is abstracted from a hydrological system. Similarly, inadequate sanitation implies a degradation of water quality and ecosystem services. Likewise, watershed management rarely sees improvements in WASH infrastructure or services as a strategy. Integrating both sectors' perspectives could bring opportunities for synergies and multiple benefits, such as protection of water ecosystems, efficient water use, improving water quality, while also enabling more equitable and resilient WASH services, including a reuse approach that could contribute to other goals such as no poverty and gender equality. However, as we have seen from the experience that we had in the Bolivia WASH project, it is not an easy task to incorporate this missing link. But before presenting challenges, let me point to some strengths identified in the Bolivia WASH project. Tools development. SCI has developed WASH flows, a critical tool that is able to quantitatively model the integration of WASH and watershed management. This tool connects data about water and sanitation flows at community level with hydrological and climate data at the watershed level in the Water Evaluation and Planning Model, commonly known as WEP. This connection helps identify vulnerabilities in WASH services related to climate and hydrological changes, as well as identify and prioritize interventions that are more resilient and inclusive. Another tool that has been linked to watershed planning is the Resource Value Mapping Tool, or REVAMP. This tool estimates the potential of recovering nutrients, energy, or biomass from sanitation waste flows, thus adding a circular economy consideration to sanitation and watershed management. Enabling participatory and training spaces to break silo thinking. Over the course of the Bolivia WASH project, there has been a constant effort made by the SCI team to engage with local stakeholders through participatory and training spaces to increase understanding of the benefits of integrating WASH and watershed management. Creation of these spaces is as important as development of technical tools, as they provide platforms for open dialogues and learning to support implementation of this integrated approach. Integrated solutions. WASH interventions will need to consider current and future availability of water resources, as these cannot be taken for granted, not only in terms of water available for domestic supply, but also foreseeing impacts of water-related hazards in sanitation infrastructure. Furthermore, sanitation interventions will require to consider technologies that are less demanding on the water resource. In addition, approaches of resource recovery from sanitation waste have the potential not only to reduce the impacts on the ecosystem services, but also provide additional benefits for food security and improved livelihoods. Streamline investments. Funding coherence is crucial to avoid sectors making investments that undermine sustainable watershed development. Sometimes investments are made in a region to develop more sustainable WASH services, while activities are also being financed that reduce the availability of clean water sources. Investments are sometimes made in one sector but not in the other sector, even when it is evident that both sectors would improve from new development. The integration of both approaches would reduce the occurrence of this type of incoherence. Some of the weaknesses and key challenges identified by Bolivia WASH have been institutional challenges, coordinated intersectoral action to improve water security, including between ministries, various levels of government, and with stakeholders outside of government spheres, is necessary to address complex and persistent water challenges. Recognizing that not only one sector can solve the world's major water-related societal challenges requires that the spaces the government, market, and civil society traditionally occupy should get more fluid. Policy and planning tools. An immense task, but not an impossible one, is to provide appropriate policies and planning tools that can be adopted at all levels, but also that are coherent among each other. As an example, to achieve this complementarity between Bolivian planning tools, the Plurinational Water Management Plan, formulated in Bolivia, includes a strategic planning line which focuses on drinking water dotation and programs that promote wastewater reuse in irrigation, which in my perspective is a promising. Technical challenges. In some cases, professionals of different disciplines might feel threatened as an integration might imply a reduction of the relevance of the importance of their specific knowledge. However, it is important to build a cycle where wash services providers can trust that there are adequate long-term water resources for the wash services to function. It also requires that other users of water resources and ecosystems understand how their levels of water security are affected by wash development or affect provision of wash services. This is why building a framework that allows to replicate this cycle will require high technical abilities from all professionals, and each solution is case-specific. Therefore, the importance of building this cooperation between different expertises in the field. And last but not least, resources. Implementation of action programs for sustainable water and sanitation development, such as Bolivia Watch, required a substantial investment, not only in the capital projects concerned, but crucially in building the capacity of people and institutions to plan and implement for an integrated approach. Thank you for your attention.
And thank you very much, Adriana, for your presentation. So now we're starting our Q&A session. Due to time restraints, we'll limit it to 5 minutes. And I'll kick off with a question to Melina Valderrama, who is our Bolivia Watch program manager. Melina, after all the presentations we've seen, could you summarize the key messages of the Bolivia Watch program so far and its implementation in the 3 priority river basins?
Okay, thank you very much. I think that the key message is it's almost the name of our session, that the integration of 2 sectors that been working in a parallel way in the past and now are integrated in Bolivia Watch program, that are water and sanitation for one path, and for the other way, irrigation and management of water resources, can do and improve the investments to develop programs with more impact and more transformation of the realities. I think that this is the key message from our experience.
Thank you very much, Melina. I will pick a question from the audience, Juan Pablo Rojas Trio. He's asking about the scalability of the Bolivia Watch program, meaning if we would do it in other basins and sub-basins located in other departments in Bolivia, and what are the future plans? Marisa, I would direct this question to you, please.
Thank you so much, Claudia, and I really appreciate everyone's participation and listening to our messages and how we are advancing on this process. Really, part of what we want to do with this session is to be able to receive some feedback from the people participating here, and soon we're going to go into the breakout groups to just do that, to be able to let people participate a little bit more after this deep dive into these case studies that we already presented. The scalability of this work really is being thought through since the beginning of the program. We know that what we are working on, these specific watersheds, which are almost like a pilot programs, really needs to happen in many other places where these challenges are existing. For instance, we were listening to the director of the Sanitation Vice Ministry saying how he feels the solutions are already more in place in urban areas and not so much in rural areas. So I feel like scaling up to areas where we have those rural challenges more present, it will be one good direction to go. And I also see in the messages that the Water Resources Vice Ministry shared, how they've been shifting a little bit the way they were doing the planning to other areas and focusing a lot on the financing and the implementation of actions. I think that's another area for scalability. Juan Pablo, we can share with you some information about other watershed plans that we've worked on, in particular in your region in Cochabamba, and I think that would be an interesting area for you to look into. So that's my message, Claudia. I hope that was useful.
Thank you very much, Marisa, and thank you for the question. Finally, we're going to start our breakout group discussion. We will have 15 minutes for this part. The idea is that we have participants choose which room they want to participate. So feel free to select the one that is most interesting to you. The first breakout group is a discussion panel regarding proposals to overcome the weakness and key challenges for the integration of sanitation watershed management. So breakout group number 1. Breakout group number 2 is related to financing. So we'll have a financing panel to implement actions that integrate sanitation and watershed management. So at this moment, you should be able to see room 1, challenges, room 2, financing, and you're free to choose whichever room you would like to participate.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we were having very interesting discussions in the panels that we were working on. However, I think that while we are summarizing the key points, also our panelists can intervene briefly to give some of their main conclusions or contributions that are not shared by the moderators of the panel. So I will invite Marisa to give the main point of their panel of the breakout room.
As you said, unfortunately, we couldn't cover all the questions. I know, and we couldn't go around with all the panelists, unfortunately, because it was a very nice and rich discussion, and being able to have all these people in this room is really what this is about. It was important that we were able to highlight the human dimension that is part of this process, that many times the decisions are made based on economic drivers, but we really need to focus on the human dimension and how the rural areas need to have this attention paid off in terms of finding the solutions for the sanitation issues in particular. Also, how we communicate these challenges and the results of these integrations through keeping it simple and making sure that decision makers can really tackle this area. And finally, the integration and consideration and climate change, that is always going to be a very important component, and that is getting just only worse with all the challenges we've seen with droughts and floods. So I'm keeping it simple, Pamela. And again, I'm very sorry we couldn't have a broader discussion, but if someone else from the panel wants to add anything, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Marisa. I don't know if someone else wants to add something from the panel, like the very key message from this panel. Okay, I think Marisa made a very clear summary of what they will be talking in this breakout room. So I will invite Claudia to also give us the summary of her breakout room.
Thank you. And similarly to what Marisa said, we couldn't focus on all questions, but I think the main point in our panel regarding financing is really not overlooking the conditions of the watershed or where we're working with, and understand the importance of integrating wash and watershed planning in financing. And maybe wider, I'll give you the opportunity to explain the term bankability just quickly, because it was interesting and important to our question. We couldn't cover it. Yeah.
Sure, and thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, I think we were just discussing what a bankable water project is, or what a bankable water utility is, and how that operates at the project level, but also the utility or portfolio level. And I was just briefly raising the point that from the perspective of a water entrepreneur or someone who's designing a program like the WATCH program yourselves, it's always interesting and perhaps ideal to consider bankability for who, or to consider the investor in question as early on in the structuring process as possible, because different types of investors all have different criteria in terms of how they define what a bankable water project or what a bankable water business looks like. And the sooner you understand those criteria, I think the easier time you'll have moving forward in terms of creating a water project that actually is bankable for the investor in question. But yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for the panelists. I wish we would have more time, but it was very fruitful discussion. Pamela, back to you.
Thank you, Claudia, and for all these important key points that we have in our breakout rooms and with the panelists. Now I would like to invite Guido Merubia to close our session.
Thank you, Pamela. I know that many of you might be tired, especially those who live in the northern side of the world, But I think that it has been a very long, very insightful journey. I would like to thank you, all the speakers, but also all the participants. Although very short, and I know that time has been the main enemy, I think that the group discussion have been really rich and has given us feedback to continue deeper and further in this integration. I would like to mention that from SIDA and from the embassy here in Bolivia, we have all the intention to continue to work in this integration in the future. So we really hope that we will develop more programs to try to really go deeper in this important integration, which is watershed and water sanitation. No, the work is beginning, and there are so many things to continue to do in the futures. So that I really hope that this will be the first of many meetings in the future. No, thank you again, and I wish you a nice and very productive World Water Week. Hope to see you soon, maybe next year or maybe the end of this year with other sessions of this kind. Bye bye.
Thank you all for joining.
See each other in Latinosan.
Oh yes,
Also
that's
with
true.
Alfonso, Latinosan in Cochabamba.
That's
this
October. So we will continue the discussion there. I think that
Perfect.
Latinosan will be the greatest spaces to continue these discussions.
I hope
Thank
so.
you all
very
of you.
much to all of
And
you.
thank you,
Thank
ICA,
you.
for this amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bolivia
Bye.
Watch
Thank you.
team.
Thank you for your
very much.
attention.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.